Affairs and Tourism, and also the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. We hope to be joined by the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning team. But in studio as we speak, Mr. Daniel Sando, he is the Deputy Minister for Technical Services at MICAT. And Matthew Yemplo is the Assistant Minister for Information Services, Acting Deputy Minister for Public Affairs, Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism. And on this interview, I'm joined by my colleague, Vesely Sumo from Pram FM. He's here, Minister Sando, Minister Yemplo, and Vesely. Good morning to all of you.
Good morning, Fafle. It's a pleasure joining you on this interview. Let me greet the folks from the Ministry of Information. Good morning.
Yeah, Daniel.
Good morning, Vafle. Good morning to you, Vesely. Good morning to the Liberian people. Let me, on behalf of the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism, I extend thanks and appreciation to the management of the Liberian Broadcasting System. You know, LBS and the Ministry of Information are partners in progress in terms of managing government communication. So yes, thank you for the work you do, and we are very happy to be in your company this morning. You follow us the time, so we can do nothing else but to talk about some of the accomplishment of our government, where we are after the president, after the release of the president, the assessment report on the president's 100-day deliverable.
Okay, Matthew.
Well, good morning, Vafle. Good morning, Liberia. Good morning, good friend Vesely. Thank you very much for the opportunity for us to be here. I'm sure we are very excited to be on your radio.
Great. We're also live on LNTV Liberia Live Facebook page. But I will start with Minister Daniel Sando. Of course, we are here to. It's also being relayed on OKFM.
Yeah.
This interview, as I understand it, is also being relayed on OKFM and Pram FM as well.
Yeah.
Also live on LNTV Liberia Facebook page. So I was about to ask, of course we have heard everything about all things the 100 days deliverables, but last week the full report of the 100 days deliverables, was published. The public can go and access it. But I just want to know the essence of the 100 days deliverables in the first place. That gets started with understanding why the 100 days deliverables.
So here's why it's important for us to know why the 100-day deliverable. The 100-day deliverables, from the perspective of the government, is a pace setter. The government inherited a country with multi-sectoral challenges, and we've had no doubt that those challenges were to be taken head on. So as a government, we put together an action plan to make 87 intervention in the first 100 days of the administration. And that was intended, when I say pace setter, it is intended to tell the population, to tell the people of Liberia what they can be hopeful of on the Baka-led administration for the next, 6 years. So the 100 days deliverable, yes, is important because it gives an insight of the things that will be done, both developmental wise, policy driven and everything. It gives you an insight of what the government would do. So yes, for example, the government had begun to do this in this sector. The government had begun to prioritize rural rehabilitation. It's going to move forward to the connectivity of roads across the country, make it pliable for all seasons of the all seasons. The fighting corruption, the government has a policy, zero tolerance of corruption. Where are we with the youth empowerment, rule of law, fighting drugs and dangerous substances? So the 100-day deliverable is meant to show how serious the government is and how the government intends to tackle some of the problems it inherited. Yes. So that's what it's all about.
Okay. Matthew, you want to weigh in on that? Then Vesely can come in with questions. Yeah.
Yes, of course. I would just copy a sentence from President Borkai statement in launching this report, and he said that the plan was devised to make quick interventions to provide some measure of relief to Liberians weighted down by so much hardship in the last few years. And he continued by saying that by concentrating on key sectors, including infrastructure and basic services, security and rule of law, transparency and accountability, and social development, this plan endeavored to address some of the governance, social and economic problems that the administration inherited. So there were challenges that the government came to power on the mantra of rescue. So it means that something wasn't quite right in the country, coming up to 2023. Liberians were craving to be rescued, and there were enormous challenges that beset the country. And when Liberians voted to change the previous administration to give us the opportunity to address the country's challenges,
Mhm.
obviously we weren't coming to power just to sit because we wanted to be in power. We're coming actually to rescue the country, and by rescuing, we need to take certain specific actions, and those actions are tied into the arrest agenda. But we have a mandate for the next 6 years. But in the next 6 years, the first 100 days, as Minister Sano was saying, we needed to set the pace. The 100 days
When you look at rural infrastructure, right? Critical spots, critical spots across the country are currently being aggressively rehabilitated with the anticipation that rainy season is coming. These places can be pliable to make transportation movement of goods and services across the country much more convenient for the people of Liberia. You listen to Mr. Murphy talk about somebody who used to take days from Tapeta to go to Zweju. They're now moving from there to reach Morovia in a matter of 12 hours. So when the road become possible, we all know the story of our country, how year in, year out, one portion of the country will be cut off due to terrible road condition during the campaign. I remember last year, some of the political candidates have to pass through the Ivory Coast to go to the southeastern region, which is very, very, deplorable. Bad for our country. So the intervention in the rural sector, rural infrastructure is very critical. So critical spots have been rehabilitated and conditioned, right, so that people can move around, and it's a continuing process. In the 100 day, you're going to see some of the interventions are completed and they're done with, but some of the interventions are continuing. For example, the rural rehabilitation and maintenance is a continuing process. It's not going to stop. The ongoing sanitation work across Morovia and other parts of the country. For example, you see the folks from the LWSC partnering with the Morovia City Corporation and the Pinsville City Corporation. They cleaning drainages, and, giving our city a facelift, making it very beautiful. Getting all of the filth from in the street. It's a continuing process. It's not going to end. But you also come to the rule of law, right? The fight against drugs and substances, right, is on course with massive enforcement efforts. Thereby apprehending and bringing to justice over 200 drugs suspect drug dealers have been apprehended by the government, and they are currently ongoing investigations. Some have been prosecuted, right? Double education. The government of Liberia has commenced the payment of arrears or wire, which has already been done. We'll talk about it. So sanitation, energy, all of these sectoral achievements are laid out in the report. So it's in keeping with the arrest agenda. Of course, the government of Liberia, tourism, which is the last aspect of the arrest agenda, the draft legislation is currently before the legislature, awaiting legislative action for the enactment of the National Tourism Authority. When that happens, a whole new sector will be on birth, right? Liberia has got everything to make headways in terms of tourism, but it's a sector that has been underfunded. It has been overlooked over time past. The president takes very seriously the tourism industry, so he's not just reducing that to what he says on paper. He's now attaching an action to it. So the draft legislation has been submitted to the legislature. When the tourism authority is is created by law, the president is going to sign that, establish the tourism authority. You know very well, by next week we have the Africa surfing competition. The government of Liberia has provided funding for that. We were in Cape Mount a couple of days ago to dedicate the Wakolo Jungle Lodge. So all of these efforts, some are public-private initiative, but it's meant to give a facelift to the tourism industry of Liberia. When we went to Cape Mount, we were asking ourselves, what do we lack in this country? You see a beautiful paradise being built by Liberians. So the government has to buttress the effort by these private investors to say, look, we respect tourism. We want to give it a whole sector. We want to give it some attention. And that's why this is all about. So yes, it's in line with the arrest agenda. It's here. So everything, anybody who has a report thank God, is published on the Bureau website, the newspapers and everywhere. Even on the Ministry of Finance. I was
about to ask, how can one access it?
Yeah, so it's on the Ministry of Finance website. A couple of newspapers across the country have already uploaded it on the website, so it's available. But for the purpose of this one, also on the Ministry of Information website, we want to upload it there so that people can have an insight of what the assessment report on the President 100 Day is all about.
Yeah. My concern, primarily with this 100 day deliverable, has been on education, because it is the bedrock. It is what we are supposed to use to develop our country. In fact, our constitution places premium on the education of our citizens. So I think education should be of importance to all of us. The government, as part of this 100 days deliverable, has said that it has made intervention, firstly in education, by paying the arrears. to the WACS and WAEC
Yeah.
for WAS fees. I just want a bit of clarity on that.
Mm.
Did Liberia as a country owe WAEC Liberia office in arrears for WAS fees, or was it for specific payments? Because we have understood over the years that the past administration shouldered the cost of the payment of WAS fees. Did they not pay? Is this government saying that we have not been paying?
Well, the other day we hosted the Federalists at WAEC Butu at the Ministry of Information regular press briefing. And this same question was asked by one of the journalists. How did these arrears accumulate? Is it that the past government was not paying? And if they were not paying, how come WAEC Liberia didn't speak out when they boasted of paying WAS fees for students? What he said to us then was that the debt accumulated. I mean, he didn't give any specific explanation as to how did the government of Liberia, the past government, pay that debt or what. But he said the debt accumulated. But the fact that the president inherited this one, like I said, multi-sectoral challenges. We inherited a government with multi-sectoral challenges. So, but let's see what the government of Liberia promised to do for education. Let me get to it.
Yeah. While you get to
Yeah.
education, I was just about to ask Matthew.
Yeah,
Of all the
we can
So-
remain on
Yeah,
education.
so what the government of Liberia committed to do, right? Because the 100-day the report is laid out in a way that what the government committed to do against what the government accomplished in that area. So yes, the government of Liberia on the education sector, the government of Liberia committed to pay scholarship arrears for local and foreign students. I think you've been hearing that Liberian students studying in China, Morocco, and other parts of the world were about to be thrown out. This is part of the problem that we inherited. And so, owing to the fact that the president attaches importance to our citizens that are out there, he prioritized and he committed his government to doing this. The next thing the government committed to do on the education sector was to invest in youth capacity building in RCT for the first 6 months and complete the construction of 25 schools. So we all know about the digital transformation process that is jointly being worked on by the Liberia Telecommunication Authority and the Ministry of Posts and Telecommunication. That process has been started. The recruitment, I'm told, they were at the ministry when it was a week before last. Yes, they came at the ministry before last. They talk about the recruitment process, so it's well on course. So this this digitalization process was meant to recruit young Liberians entrepreneur, right? How you can build a platform to promote or sell your own goods and services on the online platform and everything. So they recruiting thousands of Liberians, 10,000, I'm told. They're going to train you and give you a startup fund to get your own business started. So these are the 3 key things that the government committed to do in the education sector. And when you match this against the outcome of the report, which I was just reading, it tells you that the government achieved that. So, but just to lay to bear what the concern, Professor Lee, we cannot speak to how the arrears for WAECs got accumulated. We can speak to that. What we do know is that the government inherited this area, and the president, given the fact that he attaches importance to the education sector, he committed his government to do it, and that has been done already. Today, I'm told over 50,000 young Liberian students are sitting their WAECs exam across the country, and we wish them well as a government. They have to come over flying colors because they are the future of this country.
So Vavli, you had a question for me? I just wanted to add 1 or 2 points.
Yeah,
But you can ask your question.
Yeah, I was asking specifically, given all given the progress report from the 100 days deliverables, what is infrastructure? It's in sanitation, it's in the rule of law, education. Which ones the government takes pride in as major achievements?
What we take pride in all of them. Most importantly, the fact that people can travel from Monrovia in the morning and get to Zwedru by 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's a great achievement. But I wanted to draw a contrast quickly, especially the way the government has engaged arrears related to scholarship, local and in particular international scholarship, for example. We had an experience during the transitional period in 2018 when the previous UP administration left power and the President Weah-led administration came to power. There were a couple of students, that were already abroad, I studied abroad, so I know, what it feels like when you live in a foreign country and you don't have work authorization, and your only source of income and sustenance is what your government has committed that they would do for you, and that led you to go abroad to study. So I have a couple of friends across the government who left the country based on the commitment that the government of Liberia will finance the cost of their education. They were abroad, and there was a change in administration. When the new government took over, you can imagine what happened to those colleagues. The new government, the folks at the Ministry of Finance, they reneged on the government commitment, and so many of those colleagues had to be thrown out of school. I know some friends who came here, and the Minister of Finance then was telling them that because they were not studying STEM, that is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, so the government would not honor the commitment that the previous administration made. So it is commendable that our administration, in spite of the fact that those arrears probably originated in the obligations that we have taken upon ourselves because coming from the previous administration, the government has not said that because we did not send those people abroad to study, we are also going to renege. So it is important that the government, given the president's priority on education, has demonstrated responsibility and care for Liberians, irrespective of the fact that it was not his administration that sent those people abroad to study. About 230 of them in foreign countries. For example, in China, there are 63 Liberians who are studying there. The government has said that 579,000 has been allocated to provide the arrears for these students, including monthly allowances, resettlement assistance, language training, air ticket costs, and all of that. In Morocco, there are 152 Liberians that are studying. In Hungary, there are 15 of them. So this is the contrast. We hope that moving forward, when the government of Liberia commits to educating Liberians abroad, and there is a change of administration, that the new administration will not renege because it was not them who sent those people abroad. So this is the example that the government has set. That's the message I wanted to get across.
Yeah, I see as part of your deliverables something around the building of schools. I see that the GOL is on the verge of completing 25 schools under the RISE project program. I mean, what kind of schools are these? High schools, elementary schools, junior high schools? Because I see they say assisting at 100% civil works completion. They only require installation of solar panels, furnishing, school supplies, and materials. So what are these schools? Where are they located? Can we get more information on these schools? Because I mean, it sounds good to me. 25 schools.
Well, this is part of the IRIS project, which is improving results in secondary education. The Ministry of Education will have specific details about those
Locations and everything.
especially with respect to location. But as you can see, the report says that there's 16 at 100 completion of civil works on those schools, like 100%. But if you think about the overall motivation, it's just to improve the quality of education, including results, and also making those schools to be like smart schools. For example, when they talk about installation of solar panel, furnishing, school supplies and materials. So you can imagine these schools are being created like sort of model schools, it's sort of a vision towards which, all schools in Liberia can be modeled after. So they are in categories like secondary schools, and like you see down here, the 90% of early childhood education school also targeted within the framework have been completed. But the names and locations of the schools, the Ministry of Education has that information handily available, and they will be able to make that available to you. And I mean, there are other civil society reports that for example, that rated the government like 11% in terms of what the government said they would do as to what the government accomplished. We have said to those colleagues that this is the report that government released on Friday. You can take that report and go do a verification of what we have published that we have accomplished so far. So,
okay, Mr. Sando, there are projects that are also funded by partners. Say, for example, the Ministry of Agriculture. The Ministry of Agriculture, there are two major projects that essentially run the entire Ministry of Agriculture. We have the Star P and the RETRAP. Does the government differentiate its support from that of the partners in claiming achievement?
Well,
That sort of confusion there.
so
Because your critics will say you are claiming partners supported projects as your achievement.
but it is wrong to say, because the government is not operating in a vacuum. The government has development partners that they will obviously have to work with.
No, but it is a fair.
I'm coming, but the GOL funded projects,
Mm,
the report lays specific emphasis on GOL funded projects. What the government of Liberia has done under the leadership of President Mbaka is what we're talking about. We can't come here to disparage the good work our development partners are doing with us. No, we can't do that. So the report specifically lay out the government of Liberia. For example, you look at on energy and environment.
mm.
Just this morning, I listened to the LWSC boss, Mr. Mohammed Ali. Running water has been restored to the capital for the first time in many years. Pipe-borne water. So if you're in Monrovia now, you can open your faucet and get connected to the grill. So we specifically about the government-funded project. So if anything was done in partnership with our development partner, we're going to be proud to say it. There's no reason why we cannot say it. I mean, people have to understand that government is continuity, and the development partners are here to help us. For example, the project that I talk about in the Wakulla Lodge in Grand Kitman County is a USAID funded project, but it takes the form of a private-public partnership, right? The grant is provided by USAID, which is being managed by the private investor, right? So, but the government is also involved. What did they invite the Ministry of Information at the grand opening of the Wakulla Lodge and everything? So we are development. I mean, we are all partners in progress. We can't disparage the ones our development partners are undertaking. They're doing so well, and the government appreciate them. But we have to specifically be able to say these are government-funded projects that are laid out in the 100-day deliverable.
So briefly, in addition to what Mr. Sano was saying, pages 25 and 26 of the government report captures those actions that were also achieved within the 100 days by development partners. So when you go to the report published by the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, you will see updates on progress that development partners also achieve. But what we are heralding is what is 100% funded by the government of Liberia, including the possibility of the roads. So, and those actions, the government earmarked $23.4 million to achieve the 100 days deliverable. We're saying that what we report now is like those that are ongoing, those that have been achieved within that budget envelope, $23.4 million. So if other colleagues are interested, for example, like you and other journalists are interested in what development partners have also achieved, because during the 100 days, they also outline
Page 26 of the report. Yes.
Yeah.
by
You
development partners.
say for example, development partners committed to support the development of a zero post-harvest loss strategy, support to finalize the national post-harvest management strategy, provide 8 tricycles and 16 motorcycles to cooperatives in Nimba, provide 25 rice mills to farmers cooperatives in Bong, Lofa, and Nimba, provide 60 power tillers for labor saving to farmers, especially women farmers, and provide technical support to access rehab centers for the possible replacement of drugs and substance abuse victims, provide technical support for assessment of rape cases.
So those are the plans. Those are the plans.
So
within that, they were going to achieve within 100 days. On page 26, you will find out what they have achieved.
Okay.
Yeah, page 26.
Okay. So the following interventions were achieved
Okay.
during the period. The National Post-Harvest Strategy finalized. The U.S. technical support team to accompany the NDP process was launched, appealing to a diverse group of experts. So the government smartly differentiated
Yes, exactly.
is
Action.
But also included what the donor
Independent.
partners funded, what they committed to do, what they funded, what they accomplished.
why was that? Why did that happen?
Because like I said, the government is not operating in a vacuum.
Accountability.
Accountability. We are partners in progress. they're here to help us work together. So it's only wise that we have to be magnanimous to capture
If,
what they committed to do and what they accomplished within
Yeah.
the period under review.
exactly. If you do a good research, you will find out that there's a separate plan for the government. There is an addendum to the 100-day plan specifically outlining actions that development partners said they would take. So the report has come out, this report has come out, and then it captures what we have done with our own money and also what development partners have also done with their money as well.
Another reasoning to the 100 days deliverables, maybe Vesely can come in later, is that people would think that because it's 100 days, the durability of some of these projects is 100 days.
No.
Can you speak to that?
No.
I mean, of course, people would reason like that.
Yeah, but
The durability of some of these projects.
there's no quick impact project here. To say you want to do something to make impression. No, the government is genuine about what she's doing. For example, are you saying to us that the digital transformation process is a horrible bus trouser thing that is not going to have any lasting impact? No, they are immediate intervention, but very genuine steps. The road that have been the sewage line that have been cleaned, running water restored to Morovia. Is that something that you can say is meant to impress people? These are genuine concerns that Liberia has had over the last couple of years. You can't have a capital city with no running water and everything. So with the intervention made by the team from the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation, they will have running water restored to Morovia. It was announced this morning. So if you're in Morovia, you can open the faucet, right? The road rehabilitation and maintenance work is not meant to impress anybody. It's an immediate intervention, but it's going to be sustained. So I mean, people can rest assured. And the question you asked was good. Or maybe they come 100 days, so they want to do things to impress. This is not intended to make any political show. In fact, the reason why we are here to talk about it as a communication team from the government, because it is important that we do so. At least some of our friends who come from the other side will try to distract us and take away the attention of the public from what has been accomplished. So we have to, be on top of it to communicate it, because I see there were attempts by other people to kind of misinterpret. And I'm happy now that the assessment report on the 100 days out. There were others who said government promised 107 deliverable action plan. No, the government, what is before you, it talk about 87 action plan that the government promised in the 100-day deliverable. So you can see there's a lot of dichotomy, a lot of divergence from what is being speculated and what the government is doing. That's why the report lay out what the government committed to do. It also lay out what the government accomplished within the period of review. And we have to stick to that. It's an official document from the government. We now encourage civil society organization, for example, the schools that Matthew are talking about. And Vesely asked a very good question. Somebody will be interested in knowing the location of those schools across the country. So civil society organization can now take this report to do fact finding. They are fact checker all over the place. The government library say 25 schools are, nearing completion. Let's go look for the schools, right? So if you do that and you discover otherwise, then you can disprove what the government said. But in the absence of that, you can just sit on the armchair and make assumption. The government library put a lot into this thing, and we have to look at the detail to know where our country is, because the overriding objective is to address the perennial problems of underdevelopment and economic stagnation that we suffer as a country. And the government wants to do that. It has started to roll it out. We can only hope for the best as a country.
So quickly, Vapli, maybe like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
We'd love to be held accountable. Daniel and I, we come from political parties, civil society, media background. We're putting our character and our career on the line that this is a great government for the country. This is the country is currently on a great leadership. We want to be held accountable. I'm going to let a cat out of the bag quickly. Even though I don't have, just because of accountability. Currently, we're working on, sort of a government hour program to work in collaboration with EABC, just for the same reason that we want Liberian people to direct the course of government. So the Minister of Information will launch that program when all the modalities have been set out. But we're hoping that we can have an opportunity that we sit on this radio and people will call from anywhere. For example, you're talking about 100 days. Maybe the roads that are now passable that are going to last for 100 days. After 100 days, we want an opportunity for people to call us to say, oh, for now, this radio, when you did a 100-day project, it used to take like 2-3 hours, but now we have gone back to 7 hours. Through that radio program, we'll be calling on the attention of other government agencies to say, oh, look, the road on this Reggio corridor now is getting worse. You got to go there and do something about it. The Lofa corridor. So that's the kind of accountability mechanism. So the government is not going to be just in the offices. The government is going to be available, accessible to the people, and people are going to direct the course of government. That's basically the regime towards which, our communication and the total work that we're doing for the country, that's the direction in which it's headed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me bring your attention to the rule of law component of the report. I know the rule of law component of the report basically speaks to your intervention in drugs and substance abuse in the fight against that. It speaks to raiding of ghettos, the DEA's own intervention with schools regarding awareness on the use of drugs, the government's own efforts to secure a place for drugs abusers and all of that. I mean, these are very good initiatives, but I want to talk about what is not in the report that is of concern.
Yes.
So there appears to be some conflict between what has come out of the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission and what has come out of the Executive Mansion over the last 1 week or so regarding government officials being in compliance of the declaration of their assets. So the chairperson of the commission said only 75 out of over 500 presidential appointees have been in compliance. The Executive Mansion has refuted that. We just want to know from a government perspective, because there's one government now, what the reality is. That's one. Two, in line with the rule of law as well, since it's about substance abuse, we saw the president and his vice president do a drugs test, public drugs test, with the results given. He urged his workers in his government to do same. How many of you, let's start with the both of you, have you done your drugs test, if possible?
Well, Professor, I mean, we have to be very clear as a government what our position are when it comes to transparency and accountability. As a matter of policy, the president has said that there's zero tolerance for corruption because he has a fair appreciation of what the country has suffered as a result of corruption in government, widespread corruption, uncontrollable corruption. So he led by example. He declared his assets in keeping with law. He has encouraged every appointed official and others who fall within the category of Part 10.1 of the National Code of Conduct. That process is ongoing. The NSCC has provided a window that gives officials of government up to July to complete their asset declaration. Now, in the absence of the exploration of that window, we can come up to make statements that tend to scandalize and politicize the process of asset declaration. I think the NSCC had listening. They now come to the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism, so we can use a platform to address some of the communication needs that the NSCC has. We respect the role they play in fighting corruption, and no official government can give an excuse as to why they haven't declared their assets. So we all have to be in compliance. But the statement made by the NSCC boss tend to politicize the process because we believe that if the NSCC board realizes that there's a low compliance rate of individuals public officials who haven't declared their assets, we don't believe that the radio station should be the first place you should go. We do believe that there are steps. The president appointed Daniel Sano, he has not declared assets. The NSCC has to go to Daniel Sano. Mr. Daniel Sano will come here to ensure that you're in compliance with the law. Let Mr. Daniel Sano refuse to say, I can't declare my assets. Because we've said to the NSCC, you gave us an 8-page form that it requires somebody who understands what it is to explain to somebody who is declaring his or her asset. That has been a problem. And I think they realize it and they are going to act in accordance. But as a government, we're all going to be in compliance. And that's why the president was not guessing about it. He ensured that in 20 days, he was able to declare his asset in keeping with law. And we all, officials of government who fall within that category, we are to be in compliance with the law. There can be no excuse about that. Because people have to trust the government. And to do so, you have to do what the law requires you to do. So, I mean, there's no wall of war between the LCC and the other branches. Ministries of government. We just try to set the record straight that we don't believe that integrated institutions should be in the press for making statements that tend to politicize the fight against corruption. We have to be genuine about it. The president is committed to accountability. For 21 years, we're in the country. We saw how government after government, the establishment of the War and Economic Crime Court was politicized. It took the president just 100 days to answer that question that has been lingering over us as a country for 21 years. And the establishment of the Office of the War Crime Court is squarely about accountability. People have to take responsibility for the carnage that occurred in this country. You want to end the culture of impunity. No president in the history of the country has ever done that. It was done under the leadership of President Bouakai. So, I mean, the government credential on transparency and accountability is very outstanding, and we can't argue that.
I mean, very quickly, just for the public record, I mean, the regulations governing the declaration of assets was published by LCC on May 2nd. We have received those regulations. We are reviewing them. We've also received the form. We are working to comply with them. And in line with what the Minister Sanders said, by July or hopefully before then, 100% government official hopefully will be in compliance. In regards to Vesely's question about drug tests or something, I think our information is that process is being standardized so that where all government, where political appointees can go and do their processes seamlessly. And once we get that advice, obviously we go into our drug test. I don't do drug. I haven't done it in my life. I have no fear to go into a drug test. So once we get a clear indication as to where we all can go, from the government standpoint, from political appointee standpoint, we're going to go there. And interestingly, there's a retreat that's coming up from May 23rd. Hopefully, we're going to get a clear advice on those things, and we will be in compliance with them, obviously.
Okay. So we almost out of time. Maybe we can take maybe few calls.
It's up to you, Chief, to know what the Liberian people think about the government.
Let's take few calls. Call us on 0770581886. 0770581886. This is an extended version of the Super Morning Show on ELBC Radio. My name is Vafli Kamara. My colleague Vesely Sumo from Prime FM is here. And we have in studio Daniel Sando, the Deputy Minister of Technical Services, and Matthew Yemplu, Assistant Minister for Information Services, Acting Deputy Minister for Public Affairs. Let's hear from this person. Good morning.
Good morning, Valerie.
Good morning.
Okay, this is Alex Lauren Bobo. I will call from Lupa to Elamasura this morning.
Yeah, let's hear you, Lawrence.
Let me just admit you're still there. Well, I get one question. Those presidential appointees, if they fail to show their assets, what will be the next step? That's one short question. What money is involved?
Okay, what will be the next step when you fail to good morning.
Yeah, good morning, guys.
Good morning. What's your name?
My name is Bob Mack. I come from the Orange Precinct.
Yeah, let's hear you, Mr. P.
Yeah, so I just want to the guys to the listening clear when it comes to the WAEC fees, if it have been paid by the federal government or how much the WAEC they're owing. I think they should ask the director before coming to studio, because once I understood that he was in studio and make it clear that the past government is not owing the debt they have been owing is the heritage from Taylor Top, and now they have been paying that dues again. So before they come in studio, they should have made that research and ask the why before coming to studio. Okay, secondly, when it comes to the rule from Grenadiers to Bororo, I think it's unfair to the Grenadiers that they will be paying more than us. Because up to now, my brother, I tell you, I took 2 days from Zweju to Kanta. I arrived people yesterday. So it's not true. The information is misleading and it's not true.
Okay.
Thank you for your platform.
Thank you. Morning.
Morning, Padre, good morning to your studio guest.
Yeah, let's hear you.
My name is Inkewu, and I joined this morning from around Jacobstown in District 2. Let me commend them for giving short important information to the public. But I will ask them to do more of these public appearances on many of those pop shows, not only on ERBC, because
Oh, sorry, we lost you. But I think the message went across. Make more appearances on other stations. Morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I'm Abraham from calling from Vincent.
Yeah, let's hear you.
Yeah, first of all, I want to appreciate your guys in studio there. And those are the things that actually we have been wishing to hear. At least sometimes you go, it should not just be on EFBC, sometimes you go to the radio station, make people to understand that the work that the government doing, because we have people, okay? When they hate a special political party, or maybe they feel that they wear a party shirt and that party don't win. So no matter what all our government do, you will never appreciate it. And most of our people they listening to radio, whatever the media telling, they will take it in. So if people don't be able to go out and verify some of those things at the end of the day, they will continue to be on the mind of the people. So I want to commend you so much for the program.
Okay, thank you. We can take this call as the last call. Morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
No, this is Reeves. I'm calling from Benson Street.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, somebody I just talked about it again, but I still want to talk about it also. I want the media team in studio to be very clear to the Liberian people when it comes to the wire fees. Because when I listened to the wire boss the last time, it was not the payment of the fee under the administration of the past regime. That debt have been lingering for years. So let them come out to let us know exactly what is going on when it comes to the area issue. Instead of them telling us that the white people have to come back and tell us that this is what happened and this is what happened. I mean, they should have getting all the information before coming in studio to defend it.
Okay.
I think, yes.
They will respond. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, so a couple of concerns you can just respond, Mr. Sando.
So I think the WIAC of the payment to WIAC is a kind of bit confusing for two of your callers. But here's the point: the government of Liberia made payment to WIAC in arrears. How the debt were accumulated? The wire boss appeared before the Ministry of Information and said to us that the past government were owing WIAC. They didn't pay. Had they paid the debt, this new government would have inherited it, right? So when we inherit a debt, and given how important education is to the arrest agenda, we can be asking which government made it there yet? Which government did not make it there? How were the debt accumulated? No. As a government, we have to make intervention because of the importance we attach to education. I can bet had it been the other way around, people that politicize it to say, oh, the past government pay YFE. The Joseph Barker administration doesn't want to pay YFE and this and that. In fact, it was being speculated in some quarters that the government had declined to pay the YFEs, which is not true. So we inherited a debt, which we have serviced, portion of that, almost $4 million to WIAC. And we take pride in it because of the importance we attach to education. Which government didn't pay, which government didn't pay. It's not a concern of the administration. The administration is concerned to know how those 50,000 students are currently sitting the test. It is their well-being that the government is concerned about. So if you are concerned about politics more than the kind of immediate developmental intervention that the government is making in the education sector, that's left for you. So yes, the intervention was purely good intention, and we didn't come here to politicize everything. We came to talk raw development that the government is carrying out across the country. I will respond to the other caller, and then Matthew will talk about the other one. This guy who called and said we misleading Liberian people on this Reju to Nema corridor. I mean, I've always said that these interventions are not meant to appease or pacify people who want to be political, who sit in Morovia and not leave to go anywhere. These interventions are meant to make life more easier and comfortable for our people who are in the leeward areas of the country. You live in your comfort in Mosrata County, Morovia, and somebody who stays a week on the road get broken down during the rainy season and everything while moving the goods and services from one place to another. The whole southeastern region is usually cut off during the rainy season. Today, you see the kind of intervention that the government is making. Earth moving equipment deployed across the country just to make sure that the roads are in good condition. If you said in Morovia and don't see anything good about that, we're not going to waste our time on you. Like I said, these interventions are not meant to certify any Morovia-based politician. Our people who are in the leeward areas appreciate this intervention, and that's why when you open the lines, some of them will call. They've given testimony. Yeah, so we're very committed as a government. To whatever what we do, and we don't intend to politicize it. We have said repeatedly that when the time comes for politics, we will play politics. But right now, we have governance. We have a country to manage, a country with such enormous challenges in every sector. We can be political about things, and so if the government does something genuine, as a citizen, you have to say it. If you can't say it, just let it be. So everybody see the rule for Tapeta to Zweyu, from Zweyu to Karoken. It's in good condition, and you call on the radio and say, "Oh, they put misleading people." What do we say about you? Maybe you are stuck in your little corner.
Well, it's quite possible to even spend 1 week between Ganta and Zvedru. Obviously, if you don't intend to go straight, maybe you drive from Ganta, you get to Ban, spend some time with the people. Maybe you spend the night there, get to Saclipie 1 or 2 days. So that's possible. So we don't know from which point our colleague is speaking. But if you intend to go to Zvedru, you leave from Monrovia at 8 o'clock. Our assurance has been that you will get there by around 4 or 5 o'clock. So if anybody wants to contest that, they can put that to, they can try it. They can get on the road and drive through. So we wouldn't be, distracted by what the government is doing. Failure to declare assets, what happens? Well, the law is clear as to what the president should do. I'm not sure any of us here contest the declaration of assets. We are going to follow the procedure. As we say that on May 2nd, the regulation of a law says how the law should be complied with. And the LACC published that regulation on the 2nd of May. Today is May 20th. So obviously you can... Let's look at the practicality of that. So we're obviously going to comply with the regime. Hopefully by July, all of us will be 100% compliant, and we will continue to be compliant with the law, with the president's agenda, with the government's agenda. So that is the commitment that we can give.
Okay, Vesely, it's been a pleasure being on the show this morning along.
I mean, obviously, I enjoyed the exchange and look forward to more of these engagements. By the way, I think it's my first time here.
Oh, okay. Okay, so, yeah.
So thank you, Vafli and your team. Thanks to Vesely for coming to be part of this panel to interview us. The government has put up this report, an assessment report on the 100-day deliverable. Those who want to make assumption, we encourage them to go through the report to see some of the good things the government had done. And interestingly, so the government did not rate herself 100%. The government said she accomplished 74% of the things she committed to do. The rest of them are ongoing. So that's how magnanimous we are as a government. We didn't say, we score everything. We score 74%. The things we committed to do are laid out in the report. If you want to judge the government 100-day deliverable, we encourage you to match that with what the government committed to do. Anything short of that will be being political. And for now, we're not interested into politics. We are interested about driving the arrest agenda of this country so that the story of our country can change over the next couple of years. We're going to have a country that goes into a vicious cycle, one political election after the other. Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much. Deputy Minister for Technical Services at MICAT, Daniel Sando, Matthew Yemplu, Assistant Minister for Information Services, Acting Deputy Minister for Public Affairs, they've been here making sense of the 100 days deliverables. My name is Vafle Kamara.
Before you close, I just wanted to say something. I think I see there's a misconception between WAEC and WAS. WAEC is a regional body, and every country pays for the running of the WAEC office in Liberia. Liberia commit to pay a certain amount every year through the budget, but that has not been forthcoming. That's why I said the debt accumulated. So when that accumulates, an obligation of the government.
Because government is continuing with it.
Very good. So we pay it. We didn't come to cherry pick which one we can pay, which one we can pay. That's why you see the government didn't see who sent the student abroad, or they were not sending during our time. We can pay and this and that. The government pay across the board. That's how a responsible government should operate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Join me tomorrow for another presentation of the SMS. Bye-bye.